take a breath, get ready to explore. Chuckie's deep dive kicks down the door, where the truth collides and wisdom thrives. No surface living, we're going live. In the deep dive, where the water's gone clean, where dreams are sparked and the soul is seen. No shallow waves, just truth alive. Step into the rhythm of Chuckie's deep dive. Back to surface, we're getting real, no plastic.
All right, so today we're going deep on emotional intelligence.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, we're going to do a deep dive using the Emotional Intelligence Mastery Bible as our guide.
Excellent source.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. There's some really cool communication strategies we can pull out of this, I think.
Absolutely, and it's going to cover all kinds of things like body language, NLP, and even some persuasion tactics.
So good. I love it.
Yeah.
So you know me, I love getting right into the practical stuff we can use right away.
Yeah.
Let's start with body language.
Perfect.
Because I feel like there's so much more to it than just, crossed arms or fidgeting or whatever.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The book talks about how body language is like this secret communication channel. It's processed by the limbic system, the emotional part of our brain, so it can be even more honest than the words people are saying.
Oh, so someone could be telling me they're confident, but their body language is like screaming, "No way!"
Exactly, and the Emotional Intelligence Mastery Bible gives us some good ways to read those signals. Like, for instance, when someone rubs their neck, it can show that they're uncomfortable or uncertain.
Oh, that's so true. Like when you see students taking an exam, they're practically giving themselves a neck massage.
Yeah, exactly. It's a super common stress response. And another one is cheek touching. Now, this one can be a little tricky because it could mean a few different things.
Oh, so it's not always anxiety like I always thought.
Right? It can be anxiety or interest or even boredom.
Yeah.
It all depends on the context.
Okay, context is key. Got it. Now, what about fingers in the mouth? I always thought that was kind of an obvious sign of stress.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of like a blocking behavior. When we try to put something between us and a source of stress, it's like nail biting, a total giveaway that someone's anxious.
Interesting. So it's like our body trying to tell us something even if we don't realize it.
Yeah.
One thing that really surprised me in the book was the example of puffing cheeks. I never would guess what that meant.
Yeah, it is a subtle one. Puffing cheeks often means someone is relieved after like a close call or something.
Oh, so like if you swerve to avoid an accident.
Exactly. You might take a big breath and puff out your cheeks without even realizing you're doing it.
That's why I love this stuff. You start noticing it everywhere.
Yeah.
So how can we use this knowledge to actually be better at interacting with people?
That's the big question, right? Imagine you're in a negotiation or just talking with a friend. Being able to read these little cues can give you a real edge.
Yeah, like a superpower almost.
Yeah.
You can understand what someone's really feeling, even if they're trying to hide it.
It's not quite mind reading,
Right.
but it can feel like that. And by understanding someone's emotional state, you can change how you communicate to build a better connection.
Okay, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
So we've got some basic body language down. But what about actually influencing someone's thoughts or behavior? That's where NLP comes in, right?
Exactly. And the Emotional Intelligence Mastery Bible has a bunch of cool insights into how NLP works.
Now, I have to admit, NLP always sounded a little mysterious to me. Maybe even a little manipulative, I don't know. But I'm ready to learn.
All right, let's break it down. NLP, or Neuro-Linguistic Programming, is basically the study of how the language we use shapes our thoughts and feelings and behaviors.
So it's like hacking the operating system of our brains.
Yeah, in a way. And there are a lot of ethical and practical techniques from NLP that we can use to communicate better and improve our relationships.
Okay, give me an example, something I can try out today.
All right, well, one technique that's really powerful is called mirroring. It's based on this idea that we naturally feel more connected to people who are like us.
Oh, like when you start talking like your best friend after spending a lot of time with them.
Yeah, exactly. We unconsciously mirror each other's body language, tone of voice, even our breathing patterns when we're building rapport.
So with NLP, we're doing that on purpose.
Exactly. By subtly mirroring someone's behavior, you can create a connection and make them feel more comfortable and understood.
That's amazing. It's like speaking someone's language literally and figuratively.
It's a powerful way to build rapport and trust.
Okay, I'm definitely going to try this.
Yeah.
How subtle do I need to be, though? Would it be weird if someone noticed I was copying them?
That's where the art comes in. The key is to be subtle and natural. You're not trying to mimic their every move, just subtly reflect their overall energy and style.
So like if they're leaning forward, I might lean forward a little too. Or if they're speaking softly, I might lower my voice.
Exactly. It's all about creating a sense of harmony and connection.
This is so cool. It's like a secret weapon for building rapport. Okay, so we've covered body language and NLP. Now let's talk about persuasion.
Ah, yes, the art of influence.
Because, let's face it, we all want to get our point across and sometimes persuade people to see things our way. But how do we do that ethically?
Great question. The Emotional Intelligence Mastery Bible actually outlines 6 key principles of persuasion. And it's really all about understanding human psychology and motivation.
Okay, I'm all ears. Which ones do you think are the most powerful?
Well, 2 that are really effective are scarcity and social proof. They tap into these deep psychological triggers that affect how we make decisions. Okay, tell me more. All right, so scarcity is all about creating a sense of urgency or exclusivity. Think about those limited time offers or things that are in high demand but low supply.
Like Black Friday sales. People go nuts for those even if they don't need another TV.
Exactly. When we think something is scarce, we think it's more valuable and desirable.
It's like our brains are wired to be afraid of missing out. Now, what about social proof?
Social proof is based on the idea that we're more likely to do something if we see other people doing it. It's kind of like a herd mentality. We look to others for cues on how to behave.
So if everyone's buying a certain product or raving about a restaurant, we're more likely to jump on the bandwagon.
Exactly. Think about online reviews. We're way more likely to trust a product with hundreds of positive reviews than one with only a few.
That's so true. I'm always checking reviews before I buy anything online. It's like my built-in trust meter.
And marketers know that. That's why they use testimonials and influencers to promote their products.
Okay, now this is getting a little scary. It feels like I'm being manipulated by marketing everywhere I turn.
Well, that's why it's so important to be aware of these principles. By understanding how persuasion works, we can be smarter consumers and make better choices.
That's a great point.
No.
But what about the dark side of persuasion? Are there techniques we should watch out for so we don't get manipulated?
Absolutely. It's important to be aware of manipulative tactics that exploit our vulnerabilities.
Give me some examples. I want to be prepared.
Okay, well, one that's pretty common is love bombing. It's when someone showers you with a ton of affection and attention to gain your trust and then manipulate you.
So it's like fake intimacy.
Exactly. It can be really disarming and make it hard to see their real intentions.
Well, that's sneaky. What else?
Another tactic to watch out for is gaslighting. This involves manipulating someone into doubting their own sanity.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it can be. Gaslighters deny events, twist facts, and try to make their victims feel like they're losing their grip on reality.
So it's about control, making the victim dependent on the manipulator.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm officially creeped out. This is important stuff to know, though. The more we understand about these dark tactics, the better we can recognize and resist them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like building a shield to protect yourself from manipulation.
This deep dive into emotional intelligence is already blowing my mind, and we've only scratched the surface.
We have a lot more to explore.
This is why I love learning about this. It's like getting a secret decoder ring for human behavior.
It's definitely a fascinating and powerful area to study, for sure. And the more you learn about emotional intelligence, the more you realize how much it impacts every part of our lives.
I totally agree. It's not just about being good with people. It's also understanding yourself better and navigating your emotions and building stronger relationships.
Absolutely. Emotional intelligence helps us thrive in all areas of life.
It's like a superpower for success. So we talked about body language and NLP. Now I want to dig into those 6 principles of persuasion from the Emotional Intelligence Mastery Bible.
Okay, yeah. We talked about scarcity and social proof, but there are 4 more to cover.
Perfect. Let's get to it.
All right, so the next principle is commitment and consistency. It's based on this idea that we really want to be consistent with our past actions and commitments.
So if we've already taken a small step towards something, we're more likely to follow through with a bigger commitment.
Exactly. That's why salespeople often try to get you to agree to something small first, like a free trial or a low-cost offer. Once you've made that initial commitment, you're more likely to buy more later on.
That's so sneaky. But I guess it makes sense psychologically. What's next?
Next up is liking. We're just more likely to be persuaded by people we like and find attractive.
So good looks and charm can be persuasive tools.
To a certain extent, yeah. But it's more than just physical attractiveness. We also tend to like people who are similar to us, who give us compliments, and who work with us towards common goals.
So finding common ground is key to building rapport and influence.
Exactly. When we feel connected and share values, we're more open to someone's perspective.
This is so fascinating. It's like a cheat sheet for building better relationships. Okay, what about the next principle?
The next one is authority. We're more likely to be persuaded by people we see as experts or authority figures.
Like doctor scientists or celebrities endorsing products?
Exactly. We tend to trust the advice of people who have credibility or hold a position of power.
This makes me think of all the influencer marketing we see online. People trust these online personalities and buy things based on their recommendations.
That's a perfect example. Influencers have built authority and trust with their audience, so their recommendations are really persuasive.
It's all about leveraging that perceived expertise. Okay, we've got one principle left. What is it?
The final principle is reciprocity. It's the idea that when someone does something nice for us, we feel like we have to return the favor.
Oh, like when someone gives you a gift and you feel obligated to give them something back?
Exactly. It's a strong social norm. And it can be used ethically in persuasion.
How would you use reciprocity in a persuasive way?
Well, one example is offering something valuable up front. It could be a free sample, some helpful advice, or even just a genuine compliment.
So you create a sense of obligation by being helpful or generous.
Right. When you do something nice for someone, they're more likely to be open to your ideas or requests later.
This is making me rethink how I interact with people. Maybe I should focus on building rapport and giving value first, instead of going straight for the ask.
That's a great takeaway. Approach persuasion with genuine helpfulness and connection.
Okay, I'm definitely going to try that. The Emotional Intelligence Mastery Bible is full of great advice. I feel like I'm getting a communication upgrade with every page.
It's a great resource for anyone who wants to improve their relationships and use emotional intelligence to their advantage.
You know, we focused a lot on the benefits of emotional intelligence. But are there any downsides?
That's an interesting question. While emotional intelligence is usually seen as a positive thing, there can be some downsides if it's not used responsibly.
Like what? I'm curious.
Well, one thing is that people with high emotional intelligence can sometimes be too empathetic. They absorb other people's emotions too easily, which can lead to burnout.
I see. It's like they're feeling everyone else's emotions on top of their own.
Exactly. And it can be overwhelming if they don't have healthy boundaries.
So self-care and managing emotions are super important for emotionally intelligent people.
For sure. They need to find ways to manage their own emotions and prevent overload.
That's a good point.
Well,
What are downsides are there?
another is that people with high emotional intelligence can be seen as manipulative.
Really? I would have thought the opposite.
Yeah, it's counterintuitive, but because they're good at reading and influencing emotions, some people might use those skills to take advantage of others.
So it's like any tool. It can be used for good or bad.
Exactly. That's why ethics are so important with emotional intelligence.
How can we make sure we're using it for good then?
It's all about aligning your actions with your values. If you're using emotional intelligence to build real connections, help others, and make a positive impact, then you're on the right track.
That's a great reminder.
Yeah.
It's not just about being smart with emotions. It's about being good with them.
Exactly. Emotional intelligence without ethics is like a car without brakes. It's powerful, but also dangerous if you don't use it responsibly.
I like that analogy. So we've talked about the good and the bad, but how do we actually develop our own emotional intelligence?
That's the big question. Luckily, the Emotional Intelligence Mastery Bible has some practical advice.
Awesome. Let's hear it.
One of the first steps is self-awareness. Paying attention to your own emotions, recognizing what triggers you, and understanding how your feelings affect your thoughts and actions.
So it's all about getting to know yourself better emotionally.
Exactly. And it's an ongoing thing.
What are some ways to improve self-awareness?
One good technique is journaling. Spend a few minutes each day writing down your thoughts and feelings. It can help you identify patterns and understand your emotions better.
That's a good tip. And I've heard that meditation can help with self-awareness too.
Definitely, meditation helps calm your mind and allows you to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment.
Like creating some space between you and your reaction.
Exactly.
Okay, so self-awareness is the foundation. What's the next step?
Next is self-regulation. This is about managing your emotions so they don't control you.
So not letting your emotions run wild.
Right. It's about finding healthy ways to express and manage your emotions even when you're stressed or angry.
What are some techniques for that?
There are a lot of great strategies out there. Some people find that exercise helps them release energy and regulate their emotions.
I definitely feel calmer after a good workout.
Right. Other techniques include deep breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxation, and even just taking a break from a stressful situation to clear your head.
It's about finding what works for you and having different strategies to use.
For sure.
So we've covered self-awareness and self-regulation. What's next?
Next is social awareness. This is the ability to understand and empathize with other people's emotions.
It's like tuning into their emotional frequency.
Exactly. It's about paying attention to their body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions to understand how they're feeling.
Like becoming an emotional detective.
Yeah, in a way. And it's essential for building good relationships.
So how can we get better at this?
One great technique is active listening. This means really focusing on what the other person is saying, asking questions, and reflecting back their emotions to show you understand.
So it's not just hearing their words, but understanding their perspective.
Exactly. Active listening shows you care and are trying to connect with them emotionally.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What else can we do to boost social awareness?
Another way is to just practice empathy. Try putting yourself in other people's shoes and imagining how they might be feeling.
Even if you don't agree with them, you can still try to understand their point of view.
Exactly. Empathy doesn't mean you have to agree with them. It just means trying to see things from their perspective.
This is such an important skill, especially these days when it seems like empathy is rare.
I agree.
We've got self-awareness, self-regulation, and social awareness.
Yeah.
What's the final piece of the emotional intelligence puzzle?
The final piece is relationship management. This is the ability to build and maintain healthy relationships.
So this is where we put all those other skills into practice.
Exactly. It involves communicating, effectively resolving conflicts in a healthy way, and building strong connections with people.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
What are some key strategies for this?
One important strategy is clear communication. This means expressing yourself clearly and assertively listening to others and trying to understand different points of view.
So being a good speaker and a good listener.
Exactly. Communication has to go both ways.
What about conflict resolution? That can be tough.
Yeah, it can be. The key is to approach conflict wanting to work together. Instead of trying to win or be right, focus on finding a solution that works for everyone.
So finding common ground and compromising.
Exactly. It's about focusing on the relationship instead of letting your ego get in the way.
That's really good advice.
Yeah.
Any other tips for building strong relationships?
One simple but powerful tip is to show appreciation. Let the people in your life know you value them and their contributions.
Expressing gratitude and acknowledging the good things.
Exactly. It's easy to focus on the negative, but it's important to celebrate the positive too.
I like that. And of course, building strong relationships takes time and effort. It's like tending a garden. You have to nurture it and give it attention for it to grow.
I love that analogy.
This deep dive into emotional intelligence has been amazing. I feel like I have a whole new set of skills for my relationships and goals.
It really is a game changer. And the Emotional Intelligence Mastery Bible is a great guide for unlocking your potential.
You know, we've talked a lot about the benefits of emotional intelligence, but are there any downsides?
That's a good question. You know, while emotional intelligence is generally seen as a good thing, there can be potential downsides if it's not used responsibly.
Like what? I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Well, one potential downside is that people with high emotional intelligence can sometimes be too empathetic. They might absorb other people's emotions too easily, and that can lead to emotional exhaustion or burnout.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like they're carrying the weight of everyone else's emotions along with their own.
Exactly. And it can be overwhelming if they don't have good boundaries in place.
So self-care and emotional regulation are crucial for emotionally intelligent people.
Definitely. They need to have strategies for managing their own emotions and preventing emotional overload.
That's a really important point. What other potential downsides are there?
Another potential downside is that people with high emotional intelligence can sometimes be seen as manipulative.
Oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that.
It seems counterintuitive, right? But because they're skilled at reading and influencing emotions, some people might use those abilities for their own gain or to take advantage of others.
So it's like any tool. It can be used for good or for evil.
Precisely. That's why it's so important to think about ethics when it comes to emotional intelligence.
So how can we make sure we're using emotional intelligence in a good way?
It all comes down to making sure your actions match your values. If you're using emotional intelligence to build real connections, help others, and make a positive difference in the world, then you're on the right path.
That's a good reminder. It's not just about being clever with emotions, it's about using them for good.
Exactly. Emotional intelligence without ethics is like a car with no brakes. It can be powerful, but also dangerous if it's not handled responsibly.
I love that analogy. So we've covered the good and the bad. Now, how can we actually develop our own emotional intelligence?
That's the million-dollar question. And fortunately, the Emotional Intelligence Mastery Bible offers some practical guidance on how to cultivate these skills.
Perfect. Let's dive in.
One of the first steps is self-awareness. This means paying attention to your own emotions, recognizing your triggers, and understanding how your feelings influence your thoughts and actions.
So basically getting to know yourself better on an emotional level.
Exactly. And remember, it's an ongoing process.
What are some ways to get better at self-awareness?
A good technique is journaling. Taking a few minutes each day to write down your thoughts and feelings can help you spot patterns and gain insights into your emotional world.
That's a great tip. I've also heard that meditation can be helpful for self-awareness.
Absolutely. Meditation helps to quiet the mind and allows you to observe your thoughts and emotions without judging them.
It's like creating space between yourself and your emotional reactions.
Precisely.
Okay, so we've got self-awareness as the foundation. What's next?
The next step is self-regulation. This involves managing your emotions effectively so they don't control you.
So basically not letting your emotions run wild.
Right. It's about finding healthy ways to express and manage your emotions even when you're stressed, angry, or overwhelmed.
What are some techniques for self-regulation?
There are lots of great strategies. Some people find that exercise helps them release pent-up energy and regulate their emotions.
I definitely feel calmer after a good workout.
Right. Other techniques include deep breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxation, and even just taking a break from a stressful situation to gather your thoughts.
It's all about finding what works for you and having a toolbox of different strategies to draw from.
Exactly.
Okay, we've covered self-awareness and self-regulation. What comes after that on the emotional intelligence journey?
Next up is social awareness. This is the ability to understand and empathize with other people's emotions.
So it's like tuning into their emotional frequency.
Exactly. You got it. It's about paying attention to their body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions to get a sense of how they're feeling.
It's like becoming an emotional detective.
In a way, yes. And it's a vital skill for building strong relationships.
So how can we improve our social awareness?
One powerful technique is active listening. This involves truly focusing on what the other person is saying, asking clarifying questions, and reflecting back their emotions to show that you understand.
So it's not just about hearing their words, but about really grasping their perspective.
Exactly. Active listening demonstrates that you care and that you're making an effort to connect with them on an emotional level.
That makes perfect sense. What are some other ways to enhance social awareness?
Another way is to simply practice empathy. Try to step into other people's shoes and imagine how they might be feeling in a given situation.
So even if you don't agree with someone, you can still try to understand their viewpoint.
Precisely. Empathy doesn't mean you condone someone's behavior. It simply means you're trying to see the world through their eyes.
This is such an important skill, especially in today's world where it feels like empathy is often lacking.
I couldn't agree more.
All right, so we've got self-awareness, self-regulation, and social awareness. What's the final piece of the emotional intelligence puzzle?
The final piece is relationship management, which is the ability to build and maintain healthy relationships.
So it's like putting all those other skills we talked about into action when interacting with others.
Exactly. It involves being able to communicate effectively, resolve conflicts constructively, and build strong bonds with the people in your life.
That's a big task.
Yeah.
What are some key strategies for relationship management?
One essential strategy is clear communication. This means expressing yourself in a clear and assertive manner, listening attentively to others, and striving to understand different perspectives.
So it's about being both a good communicator and a good listener.
Precisely. Effective communication is a two-way street.
What about conflict resolution? That can be a tricky area to navigate.
It can definitely be challenging. But the key is to approach conflicts with a collaborative mindset. Instead of trying to be right or win, focus on finding a solution that benefits everyone involved.
So finding common ground and being willing to compromise.
Exactly. It's about prioritizing the relationship rather than letting your ego take over.
That's excellent advice. Are there any other tips for building strong relationships?
A simple but powerful tip is to show appreciation. Let the people in your life know that you value them and appreciate their contributions.
So expressing gratitude and acknowledging the good things in our relationships.
Precisely. It's easy to get caught up in the negative, but it's essential to make a conscious effort to appreciate the positive aspects of our relationships.
That's a great reminder.
And of course, building strong relationships requires time and effort.
It's like nurturing a garden. You need to give it attention and care for it to flourish.
I love that analogy.
This deep dive into emotional intelligence has been incredibly enlightening. I feel equipped with a whole new set of skills for navigating relationships and achieving my goals.
It truly is a transformative set of skills, and the Emotional Intelligence Mastery Bible is an excellent resource for anyone looking to unlock their full potential in this area.
I completely agree. Now, for our listeners who are eager to learn more and continue this journey of self-discovery, what resources would you recommend?
Well, the Emotional Intelligence Mastery Bible is a great place to start. But there are many other books, articles, and online resources available. A simple online search will yield a wealth of information.
That's great advice. And of course, we can't forget about the fantastic resources available at chuckiescorner.com.
Right. ChuckiesCorner.com is a fantastic hub for everything related to personal development, including emotional intelligence.
They offer articles, videos, courses, and even a community forum where you can connect with like-minded individuals.
It's a wonderful resource for anyone dedicated to personal growth and development.
Okay, I'm definitely checking out chuckiescorner.com. It sounds like a fantastic place to continue this exploration of self-discovery.
It definitely is.
We've covered so much ground today. From body language secrets to NLP techniques to the 6 principles of persuasion and even tips for developing our own emotional intelligence. What are your final thoughts for our listeners? What do you hope they take away from this deep dive?
I hope our listeners feel empowered to embrace the power of emotional intelligence in their own lives.
I love that. It's not just about understanding emotions. It's about using them to create a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
Exactly. Emotional intelligence is a journey, not a destination. It's a continuous process of learning, growing, and evolving.
And it's definitely a journey worth taking. I couldn't agree more. This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and expertise on emotional intelligence.
It's been my pleasure.
I'm feeling inspired and ready to put these tools into practice.
That's fantastic. I'm excited for you to experience the positive impact emotional intelligence can have on your life.
I have a feeling our listeners are feeling the same way. Okay, that wraps up today's deep dive into emotional intelligence.
It's been a great discussion.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and never underestimate the power of emotional intelligence.
Yeah, it has been a really interesting conversation. We've talked about a lot of powerful concepts.
We really have. And you know what's sticking with me is how emotional intelligence isn't just some, theory. It's something that we can actually work on and get better at.
Totally. It's like a muscle you can train and strengthen over time.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So for our listeners who are ready to level up their emotional intelligence, where should they start?
I think the most important thing is to start paying attention. Become more aware of your own emotions, how they feel in your body, and how they affect your thoughts and actions.
So turning up the volume on our internal emotional radar.
Exactly. The better we understand ourselves emotionally, the better we can handle interactions with other people.
Makes sense. And I bet that self-awareness also helps us understand how our emotions affect the people around us.
Absolutely. Emotional intelligence is about both self-awareness and social awareness. So understanding our own emotions and being in tune with the emotions of others.
Like becoming fluent in the language of emotions, our own and those of the people around us.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so we've got self-awareness as the foundation. What are some practical things we can do to build on that?
One thing I always recommend is mindfulness. Taking a few minutes each day to just be present with your emotions. Notice how they feel in your body, what thoughts they bring up, and how they might be influencing your behavior.
So, hitting pause on autopilot and tuning in to what's happening inside.
Exactly. And don't judge yourself for whatever emotions come up. Just observe them with curiosity and acceptance.
Good reminder. It's easy to get swept up in our emotions, but taking a step back can give us so much more clarity. What about when we're dealing with really intense emotions? The kind that can make us do things we regret.
That's where emotional regulation comes in. It's about having strategies to manage those big emotions so they don't control us.
Give me some tips. What can we do to keep those emotional hijackers at bay?
One really effective technique is deep breathing. When you feel those strong emotions coming on, take some slow, deep breaths. Focus on the feeling of your breath coming in and out.
Like hitting the reset button on our nervous system.
Exactly. Deep breathing calms down that fight or flight response and helps us react more calmly.
I've also heard that exercise can be a great way to manage stress and emotions.
Definitely. Physical activity releases endorphins, which improve your mood. Plus, it's a great way to channel that nervous energy into something positive.
It's like taking your emotions for a jog. What the techniques are there?
Another helpful technique is cognitive reframing. This involves challenging negative thoughts and replacing them with more positive and balanced ones.
So like giving our thoughts a makeover. Instead of focusing on the worst case scenario, we can try to see things in a more optimistic light.
Exactly. Our thoughts have a huge impact on our emotions. So if we change our thinking, we can change how we feel.
Okay, so we've got deep breathing exercise, and cognitive reframing in our emotional toolkit. What other advice do you have for our listeners who are working on their emotional intelligence?
Be patient with yourself. Developing emotional intelligence is a journey, and it takes time. It's not always easy. There will be times when you mess up, react in ways you wish you hadn't, or feel overwhelmed by your emotions.
It's true. It's easy to get discouraged when we don't see results immediately.
The important thing is to see those moments as chances to learn and grow. Don't be hard on yourself for making mistakes. Just acknowledge them, learn from them, and keep going.
Great advice. It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to go it alone. There are so many resources to support you on your emotional intelligence journey.
Like the Emotional Intelligence Mastery Bible, which we've been talking about today.
Yes, it's a great resource with tons of tips and techniques for developing emotional intelligence.
And of course, there's chuckiescorner.com.
Absolutely. Chuckiescorner.com has a wealth of information on personal development, including emotional intelligence. They have articles, videos, courses, and even a community forum where you can connect with others.
It's like a one-stop shop for emotional intelligence. So listeners, if you're ready for the next step, head over to chuckiescorner.com and see what they have to offer.
You won't regret it. Emotional intelligence is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. It'll improve your relationships, boost your career success, and make you happier overall.
I totally agree. Well, this has been a fantastic journey into the world of emotional intelligence. Thanks so much for being our guide.
My pleasure. I'm glad we could share this information with everyone.
I think our listeners are walking away with a whole new understanding of how powerful emotions can be.
I hope so.
Okay, that's a wrap for today's deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and never underestimate the power of emotional intelligence.
Take a breath, get ready to explore. Chuckie's deep dive kicks down the door, where the truth collides and wisdom thrives. No surface living, we're going live. In the deep dive, where the water's cut clean, where dreams are sparked and the soul is seen. No shallow waves, just truth alive. Step into the rhythm of Chuckie's deep dive. At the surface, we're getting real. No plastic vibes, just the truth you feel. From the grind to the glory, the lessons we chase. Every dive is a battle won by grace. Faith meets the hustle, the scars meet the crown. Each layer we shed takes us further down. This is Chuckie's zone, where the real reside. No fear in the depths, just a fearless vibe. In the deep dive, where the water's cut clean, where dreams are sparked and the soul is seen. No shallow waves, just truth alive. Step into the rhythm of Chuckie's deep dive. Mirror, reflecting the grind. Truth hits harder when the answers unwind. The pain, the growth, the lessons they bring. Every deep dive sharpens your wings. This ain't just talk, it's a call to rise. To find your purpose through searching eyes. The deeper the question, the stronger you'll be. In the depths of the dive you find clarity. Yo, this ain't a game, it's the life we live. Every word a truth, every beat we give. Chuckie's Corner's the launch, the dives where it's real. Breaking chains, building dreams, we seal the deal. To the deep dive, where the water's cut clean, where dreams are sparked and the soul is seen. No shallow waves, just truth alive. Step into the rhythm of Chuckie's deep dive. Peel back the surface, we're getting real. No plastic vibes, just the truth you feel. From the grind to the glory, the lessons we chase. Every dive is a battle won by grace. A mirror reflecting the grind. Truth hits harder when the answers unwind. The pain, the growth, the lessons they bring. Every deep dive sharpens your wings. Each dive's a mirror reflecting the grind. Truth hits harder when the answers unwind. The pain, the growth, the lessons they bring. Every deep dive sharpens your wings. Each dive's a mirror reflecting the grind. Truth hits harder when the answers unwind. The pain, the growth, the lessons they bring. Every deep dive sharpens your wings. This ain't just talk, it's a call to rise. To find your purpose through searching eyes. The deeper the question, the stronger you'll be. In the depths of the dive you find clarity. Yo, this ain't a game, it's the life we live. Every word a truth, every beat we give. Chuckie's Corner's the launch, the dives where it's real. Breaking chains, building dreams, we seal the deal. Dive deeper, feel the current shift. Every truth revealed is a timeless gift. Chuckie's deep dive, where you'll thrive. Uncover your purpose, let the vision drive.